Live from our studios here in Kokomlimle, Accra, and also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125, and on our social media platforms at Joy News on TV and around the world on myjoyonline.com. This is Joy News Today. I am MFA Akosia Adeti. Coming up today, 2 dead, more than 500 people displaced following a communal clash in Bunkpurugu, Nakpanduri. We've got details. As the Attorney General moves to recommend prosecution for the individuals named in the oral report, the minority leader has issued a strong warning. He will take legal action if his name or property is included in the findings. Also in Koforidua today, High Court issues bench warrant to arrest Member of Parliament for Akwetia, Ernest Yakumi, for contempt of court. We've got this and many more in this package. Do stay for details. We appreciate your company. Now, this afternoon, 2 people have died, while more than 500 residents have been displaced following violent clashes in Bunkpurugu, Nakpanduri, northeast region. The clash was sparked by a disagreement over the installation of parole chiefs by the chief of Midday. Now, correspondent Ilyasu Tanko joins us with more. Ilyasu, please bring us details. What is up really with the victims and what has happened to the members as well? Or where are the people? Where have they been displaced to?
So the violence happened in a community called Ngama Group, which is just a few kilometers from Nakpanduri. The violence have been raging since last week. And as we understand, the Member of Parliament have been able to visit the area. And we understand that more than 500 people are currently displaced. We also learned that about 150 houses were set ablaze in this particular violence. And so as we speak, we understand the displaced persons have fled to their family relatives in other communities where they are keeping up with them. Others also understand are also living with our friends and families in other communities. And during the visit of the Member of Parliament, we understand that about 5,000 bags of stored food was also burnt during the violence, and that have left a lot of people, especially women and children, saying that they have been living in the community for several days without food. And so it is an emergency humanitarian situation in that area, because the victims are telling us that they have been going days without food. I can also confirm that NADMO has not been able to respond to their situation, which of course has further exacerbated their suffering in that particular area.
Ilyasu, this will mean that the town is nearly a ghost town then?
Yes, I mean, this violence, like I said, has been raging for weeks now. The police have been trying to maintain calm in the area. And like I said, many people have fled this particular community as well. The Member of Parliament during the visit encouraged the members to come back, assuring them that there is enough detail police security in that particular area. But most people are not returned to the community.
Right, Ilyasu, the 2 people that have died, do we at least know who they are?
We understand it was a child and another man that was killed. They died because of the violence in that particular community. This is a community that these 2 group of people are living. There was an installation that brought about the disagreement, and the violence broke out. They started burning each other's houses, and as we are learning, about 150 houses are burned. And as you rightly said, the community has really been, most people have evacuated from the community.
Right, thank you, Elias. Well, victims through their member of parliament is asking for swift action, but he's on phone. Dr. Abednego, you're on phone, and please give us an update, really. What really are you expecting government to do to alleviate the plight?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me on your program. Yes, I visited the area about 4 days ago and noticed the devastation because there were houses burnt and people deserted the area. Then I realized that people left in the morning because the attacks happened in the morning, and then men and women who had gunshots flee their houses and came back to realize that their houses were burnt. So you can imagine the clothes they wore out are the only properties left with them. They don't have clothes to change. Their food items, mainly millet and maize and yam, has also been burnt. So there are no place to sleep, no shelter, no food, and no clothing. Those are the basic necessities now that the people need. And I am appealing for government to quickly come to their aid. So if government could allow NADMO to quickly go in there and then probably help with some of these items, I'll be very, very grateful.
Well, Doc, so NADMO in how many days have not responded yet? And is this the only means which you are reaching out to them through TV, or you've officially notified them?
Well, I have officially notified NADMO through the district, region, and now national. But as I speak to you, I am on my way to the national NADMO headquarters to engage the Director General there. But I speak and the region, not where the situation now.
What in total numbers are you going to be working with NADMO? We're reporting over 5,000 people?
Yes, that's right. These ethnic clashes happened in about 2 different areas, or different clans or communities. And then we would have to go in and specifically count the number of people. So the figure you are seeing just it makes more, actually.
Right, we'll keep an eye on this particular story, as definitely people will need some help to alleviate the plight. And so when NADMO gets to reach out to you, we'll check in to know if they eventually did.
I'll be very grateful.
Right, thank you so much. Moving away from Nakpanduri, let's go to Koforidua, where a high court has issued a bench warrant to arrest a member of parliament for Akwetia, Ernest Yakumi, for contempt of court. The conviction comes after he disobeyed an interim injunction prohibiting him from being sworn in and admitted as a member of parliament for Akwetia. The judge, however, Justice Senyo Amedahe, held that the convict throughout the hearing of the contempt case failed to appear in court in person. He also rejected a letter from the minority in parliament claiming the MP was busy with parliamentary duties, hence his continuous absence from court. Now let's get more from Eastern Region's Kofi Siaon. Kofi, what's the update? Has the member of parliament, by now I'm sure, if he hasn't been issued with a warrant, by now I'm sure he is headed. But tell me, how did we arrive at this?
Okay, so you know, or we all know that on January 7th, on January 6th, rather, the court placed an interim injunction on Ernest Yakumi, that is the member of parliament elect for the Akwetia constituency, prohibiting him from holding himself up as the member of parliament for the Akwetia constituency. But he presented himself, he disobeyed the court order, that is what the court says, and presented himself to parliament, and he was sworn in as the member of parliament for the area. So following that, the NDC filed a contempt application in court led by their counsel, Bernard Bedia Kubedu, and the court heard the case today, and in their ruling, in the court's ruling, the judge, Senyo Amedehe, says that the MP, Ernest Yakumi, disobeyed the court orders by not adhering to the interim injunction placed on him and presented himself in Parliament for him to be sworn in as the Member of Parliament. So the court says, the court also added that there was a letter from Parliament, the minority caucus of Parliament, telling the court that the MP could not be present in court because he has some parliamentary duties to perform. But the judge, in his own wisdom, says that it is not the minority caucus that can, make these claims. If anybody could make it, it could come from the Speaker or the Clerk of Parliament. So he never admitted that and gave his ruling and said that even though the MP wasn't in court, he has convicted him and issued a bench warrant for his arrest. So when he appears in court, when he's arrested, that is when the sentencing or any other conviction, the true sentencing will be pronounced in court.
I'm definitely aware that there are NPP persons in that constituency that voted for him. Have you had any reactions from these NPP voters? Okay, so a few of them were in court today, and from the look on their faces, it shows disappointment. Some were, frustrated with the ruling, and they were shocked that the judge could convict the Member of Parliament for the NPP side in Akwatia. Right. Thank you, Kofi. I'll go on phone now and speak to my colleague, Kweku Asante, a parliamentary correspondent. Kweku, I am curious, have you seen this Member of Parliament in Parliament today or any other day?
Well, yes, as soon as the news broke that the Member of Parliament had been convicted for contempt, we did see the Member of Parliament in the chamber. He walked in pretty shortly, and then he walked out. For about 30 seconds, he was in the chamber, and then ultimately he walked out when the issues had just been raised. I was unable to speak to him specifically. In fact, I did track him down. I followed him when he did come down, and he, in his words, sometimes we journalists have to be sensitive to our needs members of Parliament. And so he refused to speak to me on the record about the bench warrant that has been issued against him, but he has indeed been to Parliament. He has been in the chamber. He was there for about 30 minutes. I've shared videos about, I don't know if you can share that, but he was in the chamber. After some time, he left. He did have some discussion with some very senior members of his caucus, the second deputy speaker, and other members of the minority caucus. After some time, he left that side and then walked straight to the Justice 100, where we expect that he will be in his office and perhaps will meet the precincts of Parliament.
Well, let's explore this a little further, Kweku. Prior to today, has he been quite active in Parliament?
Well, yes, Ernest Yakumi has been coming to Parliament every now and then. Of course, he does not speak almost all the time. I think in the last week or two, I've seen him speak once on the floor about a statement that was deleted, but he has not been one of the very busy or one of the MPs who have been really at the forefront of leading proceedings in Parliament. But he has been around a couple of times. Almost all the time I see him, he's the backbencher. He sits one seat to the back. And so it's just the penultimate seat to the very back bench at the minority side. And so he's been around a couple of times, but he has not been very much active in terms of speaking, contributing to statements and making all these comments in Parliament. But he has been coming around here.
Right. Kweku, what does this really mean for the minority in Parliament?
Well, ultimately, we don't know yet what the strategy will be. We know that the standing orders and the Constitution provides that a Member of Parliament cannot be arrested when he is in Parliament, when he is on his way to Parliament, or on his way from Parliament. And so in all these three circumstances, he cannot be arrested. If he stays in Parliament from now till late or whenever, he cannot be arrested. When he closes from Parliament and is on his way to his house, he cannot be arrested unless he reaches his home, and then he can be arrested. Tomorrow morning, if he's on his way to Parliament, he cannot be arrested. Those are the immunities that exist for members of Parliament with regard to the power to arrest and all that. Also, the minority perhaps may enlist the support of the Speaker by getting him to append his signature to a document to the court that the member of parliament has not been coming to court because of this or that reason, for which reason he should not be convicted of contempt or what have you. We don't know if that will inform the judge's opinion to go against the decision to convict him, or he will proceed to sentence him or rescind the bench warrant. That is all up to the judge, and we do not know now what exactly will happen in the coming days. We will get to speak to the leadership.
Oh no, I don't want to.
What exactly?
Right.
Going forward and how this then is doing.
Quickly, before your network will freeze on me again, a very quick one. Do you think that the court is going to recognize him as an MP, which then will make him immune to these provisions that the Constitution allows, that he cannot arrest a member of parliament whilst he's conducting parliamentary duties? Now, there's some contention on that seat, which means that there's no clarity as to whether that seat has been declared in the name of the NPP and even more to him, Yakumi. And so do you think that this immunity in the Constitution can apply to him legitimately?
Well, that is something that we will need to see what the opinion of the judge will be, ultimately when it publishes a detailed ruling. But as we speak, it is undisputed that Ernest Yakumi has actually been sworn in Parliament. He has taken his seat as a member of parliament. He has been accorded all the privileges of members of parliament. In fact, there's been no challenge on the floor as to his suitability of parliament. So the presumption of regularity will follow that because he has been sworn in as a member of parliament, he's been performing his duties as a member of parliament. It would stand to reason that for now, he's a member.
Thank you. I got that, and I hope that you also got that, Kuku. We'll come back to you if there's any developments, but thank you. And still in Parliament, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, is expected to recommend the prosecution of individuals named in the Operation Recover or Loot, what you know as oral report. Now, the team, which submitted its findings to President Mahama earlier this month, estimates that Ghana could reclaim more than $21 billion in illegally acquired assets. In a yet-to-be-aired interview on The Pulse on Joy News, Minority Leader Alexander Afenyomarkin, whose properties were investigated, has issued a strong warning, saying he'll take legal action if his name appears in the final report for any alleged wrongdoing. Mr. Afenyomarkin has also urged President John Dramani Mahama to issue an immediate directive to withdraw the Chief of Staff's instruction that has led to mass dismissals.
That everybody that was employed and yet to be captured on the public payroll, that appointment should be terminated.
In 2017, when a matter of this nature arose, President Mahama tweeted to condemn that action and criticize the government of the day. In his campaign, he assured the youth that he won't come and terminate anybody's appointment. Some of these appointments, the processes started way back, and eventually the appointment letters were issued, some September, October, some November, some December. I have seen letters that are terminating appointments that were made as far back as June last year. But we've raised it on the floor. I've written to Mr. President today on this matter.
You've written to the President?
Yes, I have.
Demanded what exactly?
Oh, I've written to Mr. President, stating the fact and calling on him to intervene and stop the action of the Chief of Staff, and that these are Ghanaians who have been employed, who are being thrown out of employment onto the streets. We don't need it as a country. It is not good for the image of the country, and it is creating some deep pain amongst people. Now, they refer to 2017 and say that Honorable Asafo said it was never done. You see, we were all in government. People prevailed on those who wanted to do that to stop. In fact,
there was an attempt to lay off
those that but it was never done.
Well, the full interview will be airing later today on The Pulse at 3 p.m. Don't miss it. Now, let's talk about power issues next. Now, residents of Kumasi say they are worried about recent power outages in the area. What began a few weeks ago as minutes of darkness has progressed to long hours of power cuts, leaving consumers unhappy and struggling to adapt. The situation isn't different here in Accra. Stephen Mensah has been interacted with some residents who say they spend more money to prevent their goods from going bad.
It's in a call for an asset. Ejumana is through a call for an Ejumana is through. Like in a bus house, a question of Britimi Cosi, with the I didn't say heat. Obibano being it here, we are diamond upon a son. Who say, yes, I won't say Nippon or sweat. And a bus and Nippon feel comfortable. I do generator, but generator right now is spoiled. We buy for dentins, like you buy like 100, 150 dentins. The light, you buy like 500, 600 today a month. So my fuel and the light, they go out. Like it affects me. So how can I buy the fuel at the same time, buy lights as well? She said that one too, they cost me.
Of late, the power situation is bad. It has been on and off. Just at the opposite side of where I'm staying, yesterday, the light went off. In cold store work, you know, once it's cold store work, if the power goes off, yeah, I'll be in trouble. So what I do is I have a standby generator, which of course when the light goes off, then I put on the generator. The expenditure is running high. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help. You buy electricity, 100 cedis, within 3 days, the light goes off, and you have to go and buy another one. It makes the work very difficult.
It's not good at all. It causes damage to our fridges, our food. Like it makes our food spoil. Sometimes they can off the light for some 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And maybe we have foodstuffs in the fridge. It will get spoiled, yeah. So it doesn't work for us. So we want the government to do something about it.
It wasn't like that, but just like a month now, it is another problem that we have.
We apologize for that mishap there, but moving on, the Ghana National Association of Teachers has criticized a decision by the Ghana Education Service to terminate appointment of some teachers. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Ernest Kofi Davis, earlier this week issued a circular revoking appointments made after December 7. NAT President Reverend Isaac Owusu argues that the directive misinterprets the Chief of Staff's order, which called for the revocation of appointments made after December 7, not those yet to be placed on payroll.
Okay, so we just cited a letter from the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, giving directive to the regional directors and the district directors to make sure that they revoke teachers that were recruited and posted who are yet to be put or placed on the payroll. And we find that letter inappropriate because of its content. We know that the Chief of Staff directive given to heads of the institution was that all recruitment that was done after 7th December's election. So if the Director General of GES is saying that workers that have been recruited that are yet to be placed on the payroll, if we don't take care, you are going to pile pressure on the district and the regional directors of education, because in the first place, the appointments and recruitment are not done at the district level, neither is it done at the regional level. All recruitment and appointment are done at the GES headquarters. And you see, what surprises some of us is that even the Director General's directive did not accompany with a master list of those teachers who falls victim of the situation. So a teacher that has been recruited for the past 6 months or so, who is yet to be put on scale or be placed on the payroll, are you saying that such teacher is also included? So we think that the Director General should rethink about his directive and come clear. And if you specifically want to revoke the appointment of teachers that you recruited after 7th December, then Director General, please kindly engage the two deputies, your two deputies, and the HR to help you with the said master list, so that you can give say to the district and the regional directors. Because as it stands now, the content of your letter or directive is ambiguous. And so I am admonishing the Director General to take a critical look of his directive once again, to at least stabilize the industrial peace. Other than that, all said teachers who fall victim, if we receive petition from their outfit, then as a leader of the teacher union, NAT, I won't sit down for said teachers' right to be trampled upon, because the reason why workers join trade union is for their social and economic interests to be protected by the union they belong to. So I am kindly admonishing the Director General to take a second look of his directive.
While still on appointments, a group calling itself the New Voter Forum is demanding the immediate revocation of Engineer Obin Kenzo's appointment as acting Chief Executive Officer of the Volta River Authority. The group argues that Engineer Kenzo, a known member of the New Patriotic Party, does not align with President Mohammed's vision and could undermine his administration agenda.
The happenings regarding some appointments, especially at the energy sector, is of a great worry and a threat to President Mohammed's reset agenda. While we find as an eyesore the rush to be appointed when such people did nothing or little to support the party to recapture the reins of power after enduring a painful opposition and provocative and gagging poster of the dislodged New Patriotic Party for 8 wasted years, and the misbehavior of some self-seeking individuals in the corridors of power who are arrogating to themselves the appointing authority with which they are making parallel appointments on the blind side of the president, who is solely clogged with that authority. A case in point is the purported appointment of Engineer Edward Eko Obin Kenzo, a known MPP member and an appointee of Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, as the Deputy Chief Executive of the Engineering and Operations of the Volta River Authority as acting Chief Executive. To us, the concerned members of the Umbrella Fraternity, this is as shocking and disappointing as it is unimaginably and regrettable. It is on that record that Engineer Kenzo, as part of the management staff and working closely with the immediate past Chief Executive, Engineer NP Dakwa, championed the MPP agenda and made things very difficult, if not impossible, for the progression and freedom of staff who are perceived within VRA as NDC members. Our question, therefore, to Mr. President is, what is the purpose of appointing a known leading member of the MPP at the expense of qualified and unapologetic NDC members? He has openly shown his loyalty to the MPP as a die-hard card-bearing member and must therefore not be allowed to assume this leadership position where he has to be a father and leader for all. This singular appointment is demoralizing the base of the NDC and must be revoked immediately without any further delay.
You're watching Joy News today with me, MFA Akosiadete. We go for a quick break. When we come back, we got business, showbiz, and sports. Please stay.
Welcome back to business here on Joy News today. My name is Winston Taki. And out to our first business story, the National Youth Authority has stated it shall improve its monitoring and evaluation systems to ensure that future disbursement and grants are done efficiently. There is more in this report.
Currently, I would be very open with you. We are understaffed, and we're looking at recruiting as many monitoring and evaluation directors across the 16 regions and also across the over 200 districts. And most of our offices don't really have monitoring and evaluation directors, and that is what we are currently looking at doing. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a clearance from the Ministry of Finance in the next budget, so that we can have monitoring and evaluation directors in almost every region and in almost every district. If you do that, then you realize that the monitoring will become very easy and become very well coordinated within the structure. So I want to believe it was because of their understaffed nature of the NYA that made it very difficult for the monitoring and evaluation, because you cannot have a few people monitoring the entire country. Looking at almost every ministry and every industry having a youth desk to make sure that every business that is coming to every ministry is at least having a percentage of it or a fraction of it going purposely to the youth, because you cannot have a youth business competing with a global giant. It is an unfair grounds for them to compete. So we need to create that enabling environment specifically for the youth. So if government is going out to tender some contract, there should be some contracts that are saying that this is a youth contract and these are contracts for other groups of businesses. So as the implementation body, we're looking at how we can implement most of these policies, especially in the NDC's manifesto, so the youth of this country can get suitable jobs.
Moving on, the Executive Director of MBC Africa, Tenemba Ansamake, has emphasized that agribusiness is a key driver of Africa's development. Speaking at the second edition of the Agribusiness Festival in Wa, she highlighted that African nations don't need external funding to achieve growth, as local investors can play a vital role by investing in the agribusiness sector, which is deeply interconnected with the broader economy and reliant on human capital. Rafik Salam reports from WA.
In 2024, MBC Africa launched the first edition of the Agribusiness Festival, codenamed AgriFest, to serve as a platform that brings together key stakeholders to promote the growth of agribusiness in West Africa. The goal of the AgriFest is to contribute to food security in West Africa and beyond by connecting the various actors in the value chain to the resources in order to sustain the growth. The AgriFest brought together participants from different countries within West Africa to participate, pitch their business ideas, and exhibit their products. It was held on the theme Human Capital, the Success Factor in Agribusiness. Executive Director of MBC Africa, Tenemba Ansamake, in her welcome statement, noted that local investors can drive growth by channeling resources into agribusiness.
Because what we're trying to prove is that we don't need external funding sometimes to achieve what we want. We have enough money in Ghana, and we just need people that are willing to put that money towards agribusiness. Because number one, Africa has, I think, 60 to 65% of the remaining arable land. We have water, we have the young people, and we still import practically $100 billion US dollars worth of food. It simply doesn't make sense.
Tenemba Ansamake also observed that agribusiness is one of the most effective ways to drive Africa's development.
You know, at MBC Africa, we have believed for years that one of the best ways to develop our countries is to develop agribusiness. Because if you look at it really, everything in agribusiness touches the other sectors in the country. And one of those things is the human factor. And the human factor is the foundation of anything that you will do. Despite the way we are talking a lot about technologies these days, AI and whatever, even AI was created by a human being. So the human factor remains fundamental.
Technical Director of World University Service of Canada, Joseph Apiliga, who was the keynote speaker, stated that young people must be equipped with a skill that align with the demands of today's market.
To ensure that our youth are ready for these changes, we must rethink how we educate and train them. Education must go beyond concepts and embrace practical hands-on learning. Whether it is in agribusiness, agri-tech, or sustainable farming practices, young people must be equipped with the skills that align with the demands of today's market.
President of the Zinibua Traditional Council and Vice President of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, Koro Abu Diakasung Kebednyamada, who chaired the function, admonished the stakeholders that business cannot stand in isolation.
We will look at human capital in terms of the value of the skills they have to acquire in the context of changing environmental factors, most especially the climatic factors. Of course, business cannot operate in isolation. The relationship business has with some of these elements, like gender issues, like environmental issues, like the type of technology to be adopted, of course, goes a long way to help in facilitating the growth of the agribusiness.
A participant from Nigeria, Omolala LCO, shared the experience of the festival.
Oh, very engaging, very interesting. It's it is enlightening because it is the MBC Africa project is focused on agribusiness, Africans feeding Africa, you know, and so far so good. In the past 2 days, it has been awesome. We have learned a lot about skills and talent development. We have talked about how performance management, talent acquisition is good for succession planning, and how that can help the agri space to take up the best of talents, as well as also measure their performance, you know, so that they in turn can run a business that outlives them.
Reporting for Dre News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
We'll bring you more business update at 1 p.m. on the marketplace and 2 p.m. for Beyond the Numbers. That's all for business here. My name is Winston Taki. Up next is Showbiz.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to the Showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline Ansuma Hiabwa. To our first story, Kumasi is gearing up for the much anticipated 2025 edition of the Awake Experience with Dinah Hamilton this Sunday. Ace gospel artist Dinah Hamilton is promising to serve patrons in the Christian fraternity in the Ashanti region with some of the finest gospel artists, including Uncle Ato, Cindy Thompson, Mabel Ochre, and Kwame Jedu. Well, the event promises to be a powerful night of worship and praise. She spoke to Erabna Akwe.
This year's strain of the Awake Experience with Dinah Hamilton just landed in Kumasi, and in here in the studios with us today, we have Dinah Hamilton. Hi, Dinah.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You look good.
Thank you.
All right, so over the weekend, the Awake Experience happened in Accra. How was it?
It was mind-blowing. It was such a great experience. The theme was move, and we felt the move of God on the night. Yeah.
Okay, so the theme was move of God.
The theme was move, and we really felt the move of God. Yes.
Okay, so how prepared are you? What should we expect on Sunday?
What God did in Accra means that He's about to do great and mighty things, and so expect a move of God, expect a Holy Ghost party, expect a time of worship, of prayer, of just letting ourselves go in the presence of God, and then watch what God will do with us.
Well, away from Kumasi, A$AP Rocky just beat the case. The rapper walked out of Los Angeles courtroom a free man after a jury found him not guilty of firing a gun at his former friend, A$AP Rocky. With 24 years of possible prison time on the line, this verdict was nothing short of a major win for the hip-hop star.
Rakeem Mayers, not guilty of...
It was a dramatic day in court as the not guilty verdict rang out, met with cheers and applause. Rocky, real name Rakeem Mayers, wasted no time jumping over a wooden barrier to embrace his longtime partner, Rihanna, and their two sons, Reza and Riot, who were in there to support him. The case centered around an alleged 2021 shooting in Hollywood where Terrell Efron, aka A$AP Rocky, claimed Rocky fired at him. Grazing his knuckles, Rocky denied the charges, insisting the gun was just a prop and that Rocky was only after money. With this acquittal, Rocky can now put the legal drama behind him and focus on his music, fashion, and family life with Rihanna. And with Riri and the kids by his side, it looks like he's got more than just a verdict to be happy about.
Ira Star just proved she's not just a sabi girl, she's a history maker. While the Nigerian star won 2 awards at the 2025 Mobos, she was adjudged Best African Act and Best International Act, cementing her place among music elites. We have more in the following report.
The winner of the Mobo Award for the Best African Music Act is... Ira Star!
Held at Newcastle's Utility Arena on Tuesday night, the Mobo, also known as Music of Black Origin Awards, once again celebrated Black excellence in music. The night saw fierce competition, but Nigerian musician Ira Star stood out, making history as the first female to win the Best African Act in 16 years. She beat global icons like Beyoncé, Nicki Minaj, Kendrick Lamar, and Megan Thee Stallion to claim Best International Act, a testament to her undeniable talent and soaring influence.
Okay, this is my first Mobos, and this is the first time I'm winning a Mobo Award. Make some noise! I'm actually shaking right now. I'm very nervous. Thank you so much to everybody that supported me. Thank you to my team, my amazing mobsters, my amazing brother that makes music with me, the producers in the studio, my studio partners in crime, my label, Maven Records. Shout out to Embryo, shout out to my mommy.
Other big winners of the night included British rapper Central C, who clinched Best Male Act for a record-breaking 3rd time, making him the most decorated rapper in Mobo's history. Meanwhile, British-Nigerian singer Dako triumphed in the Best Female Act category, outshining stars like Ray and Little Sims. From Sabi Girl to Mobo royalty, Ira Star's glow up is one for the books, with 2 trophies in hand. And history on the other side, the future is looking even brighter for the songstress. For Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
That note is a wrap for the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah. Over to you, Emefa Akosia Adeti.
Always a pleasure to have you, Jackie. Jackie, what's the first line of the song? I've never been able to sing it.
Emefa, why do you want to put me on the spot?
I heard you just singing it. I'm
you
sorry.
You just want to put me on the spot.
Nodded.
Okay.
Sabi girl nodded too like work.
Yeah.
Animal in human form.
See, you know, I'm a backup vocalist, you know.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Joy News today with me, Emefa Akosia Adeti. Definitely will bring you another installment tomorrow, but do stay tuned for more on the channel. But before you go, quick one, for more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. We appreciate your company. Savvy girl, you like work. Come on, let's go, right?